Hello viewers of SSBC, thank you so much for joining us in today's forum of the Round Table Show, where we'll be discussing mainly on the role or the contribution that South Sudan Youth Young Leaders Forum could do towards ensuring that South Sudan or our nation realize peace. In this very episode, we are happy and had a pleasure to sit down with people who are spearheading this very institute or organization. We are joined by Dr. Peter Biar, who is the board chairperson of South Sudan Young Leaders Forum, and we're having also Honorable Ronald Deng, who is also the chairperson of Leaders Dialogue or Young Leaders Dialogue, of which we'll be getting to know about this Young Leaders Dialogue. And we are also joined by our lady who is among us, that is none other than Joyce Abaha, if that's true. Yeah, Joyce true. Abaha, yes. She's the only lady among us. And not forgetting Molana Dengai Galwak, who is a member of National Dialogue Steering Committee, as well as also secretary of the Young Leaders Dialogue, of which let's get to hear what are they up to of ensuring that they play something very crucial in ensuring that South Sudan realize peace. All of you, welcome to Round Table Show.
Thank you very much.
To start with Dr. Peter Biar, sounds good that, of recent we do hear something to do with South Sudan Young Leaders Forum. And, we get to wonder, what is this organization or what is this institution all about? What does it, what is the reason behind making sure that this thing comes up and is back at this time when the country is going through political turmoil? Could you tell our viewers a little bit about this forum?
Thank you so much, Gora Anthony, for hosting us this evening. It's a great pleasure, and I'm quite grateful to you for making the time available for us to talk to our people in South Sudan,
yes,
and inform them about the initiative that young leaders of South Sudan are doing. All the youth of the country are being divided, they are killing one another, and our country is disintegrating before our eyes.
Yes.
So why don't we come together as young people? Forget the politicians, because as you know very well, the politicians, most of them, they're trying to pursue positions. We say forget them, and let us as young people come together and see what we can do to bring peace to our country.
Yes.
If these leaders are not interested in peace, then why don't we try as young people and as young leaders responsible in our own rights to bring all the youth together? This led now to a meeting we organized in Nairobi. We did it January 9th, 2017. And we picked January 9th for a reason, because January 9th was the day that the CPA was signed, and it was the day that we as people of South Sudan voted in the referendum for our country to become independent. I remember myself when I voted, I waited on the line for 36 hours. And I wanted all the young people of South Sudan to remember that time when they were voting on the lines.
Yes.
What kind of country did they want to create? And we went back to Nairobi where the CPA was signed to do this meeting. At the end of the meeting, it was very difficult, by the way, because we have people who were in rebel groups, people who were in the government, coming together for the first time. Now, it was so difficult, but after 2 days of intense discussion, we managed now to come together and we formed South Sudan Young Leaders Forum. The idea of this forum is for it to become a vehicle where all the young people of South Sudan unite their efforts. Because you are doing a lot of great things in the media.
Yes.
There are people that are doing great things in business, people doing great things in academia, but we are not supporting one another. We are not using our collective network and influence to give momentum to what each and every one of us is doing.
Yes.
So we created this forum to be a platform where we as young people of South Sudan, the custodians of the future of South Sudan, come together, we know ourselves, we build trust and confidence, and we chart a new vision for our country.
Okay, sounds good. Honorable Ronald Deng, people actually over there get to know, they know who Ronald Deng is, and due to whatever you have been doing to people of Awil by then and currently with us here, Ronald Deng is now a chairperson of Youth Dialogue, and we get to, confuse a little bit that what is it, this Youth Dialogue? Because all along what we know that there is National Dialogue, the steering committee and all this. So could you just tell us a little bit about this youth dialogue, of which it emerges out of this, or it is one of the project or one of the aim that the Young Leaders Forum is trying to ensure that leaders or youth are brought together. So, just tell us a little bit about this.
Thank you very much, Gore Anthony, for giving us this chance to meet you. Me and my colleagues were very privileged. Just a brief background. When we met in Kigali last year as the founding members and the delegates for South Sudan Young Leaders Forum, we come from different backgrounds. Out of the 64 tribes of South Sudan, we have almost half, more than half, almost reaching 40 tribes of South Sudan into this Young Leaders Forum.
Young Leaders Forum has like 40 tribes of South Sudan?
Yes, in our delegates conference. So when we met...
Are they members, or you just call them as South Sudanese to be part of the...
They are members. They are members who showed interest and who applied to join to the South Sudan Young Leaders Forum, and reaching out to also those small indigenous tribes, bringing everybody to have a face, a national face of South Sudan. So when we met from different backgrounds and different tribes, we realized we still don't know each other as South Sudanese. And we have to create a forum and a vehicle where many young people, South Sudanese, can come together and learn from each other, to understand each other, to appreciate each other, you see? So the idea of the youth dialogue was raised up because a lot of youth felt like they missed the opportunity to fully participate in the national dialogue.
Let me just cut you short. You said this youth dialogue is basically going to focus on how to unite youth, bringing youth together. We are having one of the youth, which is Dengai Galwak, Maulana Dengai Galwak. He's a member of National Dialogue, a steering committee, and I wonder whether Galwak is not really representing youth in the National Dialogue. This is the question of which I will ask him later. But tell us, now when you come up with this youth dialogue, are you not contradicting with the National Dialogue? Like, they will hear, now these people are now coming up, they are coming to take over our job or what?
No, no. In fact, the objectives for the youth dialogues are very clear. We have like 5 objectives, and clearly our youth dialogue is to complement the work of the national dialogue. If there are gaps that the national dialogue left, we're able to complement to do it. And all these are leading to peace, contributing to peace building in South Sudan. Our approach is mainly that we're going to target the youth. We want to bring the delegates from especially the conflict areas, the areas where youth are killing themselves, where youth are involved in unethical behaviors of cattle rustling, child abduction and all these things. These are the challenges that we say as young leaders, let us talk peer to peer, between individuals, between brothers, let us understand each other. But also in our approach, we are trying to build bridges. We are trying to reach across the conflict borders. Our brothers who are also on the other side, we are talking with them, the SPLM-IO, Riek Machar, regardless of which political affiliation or group you are, we are reaching out, calling them and telling them, let's sit, brother. What have I done wrong? What have you done wrong? Let's correct each other, you see? And we are coming with this consensus, and I'm happy that the youth, the young people of South Sudan are tired of the war, and they're starting to realize. And this group, we are transcending this political divide.
Let me just cut you short, Ronald. Right? I just wanted to ask your deputy. This is Joey Sabah. You're being in this whatever forum of youth dialogue. What could be the best way as a member or founding member of South Sudan Young Leaders Forum? What do you think could be the best way of ensuring that all youth are brought together?
Thank you, Gore Anthony. What I will say is that the youth dialogue is the way forward for the youth to come together. Because when we are going to sit down as a youth, we will talk, we will bring up all the problems, okay, and all the differences. As you put it earlier, that the issue of the lady, you are from different region, and then you will go to certain region and ask for a lady, and they will say no. If we sit down as a youth and we talk and address this issue up, I think we can
Do you
we can
think you
able
will
to settle.
change the mindset of those big guys? Because always there are people behind. They say no. When they say no, you will not have any say.
I know that one is there, but as a youth, we have a say. Even at home, you have a say. Okay, and some of us in the South Sudanese cultures, always the firstborn people can hear too. Okay, and then another thing, if we talk to our big people about this issue that we have to make intermarriages and all these things, we can come up, or we can overcome the issue of the.
Could it be one of your objectives or one of your way of how to unite South Sudanese, like through intermarriages, or this is out of your?
No, it's one of our objectives.
Okay.
Yes.
So we will we'll see that with time.
No
So
worries. No worries. Definitely. you will get it.
let me come to Molana Dengai Galwa. You see, Honorable Ronald Wai, Dr. Peter Biar, and Joyce, all of them, like they come up with something which is currently going to, I'm sure it will start off, and this is youth dialogue. You're in the National Dialogue Steering Committee. I hope you're representing youth there. So tell us, what does it, I mean, what is the linkage between the National Dialogue and this youth dialogue?
Well, first of all, my brother Gora Anthony, thank you for hosting us. And it's our privilege to share our views with South Sudanese watching SSBC this evening. You asked about the linkages between the national dialogue and the youth dialogue. First of all, I wanted to say this. As South Sudanese, we fought the longest brutal civil war in Africa. And when we fought collectively as South Sudanese, then the international community and also God himself was on our side.
Yes.
Then fortunately we got our independence. But now the problem we're facing, and everyone always asks, why are you South Sudanese killing themselves? And that's why, since we realize we are killing ourselves, there's a lot of peace initiatives now in South Sudan happening in our country. That's why we have the revitalization forum that is currently happening in Addis Ababa. We have the national dialogue process that is in place.
Yes.
Then now the youth came up with this youth dialogue, and it was actually initiated by South Sudan Young Leaders Forum. Now the difference is this. The national dialogue was initiated by the president in December 2016.
Yes.
And again, the president had to reconstitute the national dialogue in May 2017, where he relinquished his patronage from the national dialogue process. And that was a sign of one confidence building measure that actually manifests to South Sudanese that the president was willing for this process to be successful.
Yes.
So now the youth of South Sudan, especially the South Sudan Young Leaders Forum, saw it wise that the youth in our country constitute 70% of our population. And now if you are to solve a problem of 70% in our country, that means we will only remain with 20% of our problem in the country.
Yes.
Already we will already be in a position to solve the remaining percentages. Because the youth constitute 70%, and now these are the fighting force. These are the people fighting behind their politicians.
Yes.
These are the people that are divided based on their ethnic diversities, based on their tribes and political affiliations. So now we saw it wise that regardless of our political affiliations, regardless of our tribes, let us come back together as youth. And that's why we had the conference, the delegate conference in Rwanda, where the youth from different political parties, youth from different groups came together and actually sincerely negotiate among themselves. And the main experience that we faced in Rwanda was for us to go to that memorial site of the Rwanda genocide.
Yes.
We went there, all of us, and we felt if 1 million citizens can be lost within 90 days, then what if this scenario would have happened in our country? Where will we be at the moment? Then we felt very ashamed. We said, okay, as youth, let us come together through this South Sudan Young Leaders Forum. Now, what will be our main activity of the South Sudan Young Leaders Forum? Then we said we should have the youth dialogue. Youth should dialogue among themselves because they deserve to dialogue. So now the difference is this. The youth are actually dialoguing among themselves.
Okay.
parallelly to the national dialogue process. But they will complement the national dialogue process, because if the youth dialogue, then there is this national dialogue of the whole country, then they will complement each other. in
Dr.
our
Peter
country.
Biar,
Yes.
you know, people always say it, and of recent, there are so many organizations that come up, so many forums that come up. Everyone comes like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And sometimes people get to wonder whether this forum is really, you know, gearing up towards peace. You know, sometimes somebody may ask that, really, whatever you people come up with to ensure that this forum called South Sudan Young Leaders Forum, is it mainly there to unite people of South Sudan or to unite youth, or it is there just to achieve certain hidden agendas, maybe to make money, maybe to, you know, people always say that if somebody comes up and say that Peter Biar and the group just came up with this South Sudan Young Leaders Forum just to make money or to gain something, what would you say about this?
Well, first of all, those who are creating many initiatives, we should appreciate them, because the worst thing one can do is to remain dormant without doing anything in such a crisis that the country is in. Our country is bleeding every single day. And it's good to see young people trying to create whatever initiative that they can create, because what they want to be is to be part of solutions.
Yes.
They don't want to be part of the problem. So we should not complain that there are many initiatives. And in the same reason why many of us, we don't complain that why are there so many processes aimed at peace. There is high-level revitalization forum, SPLM unification, national dialogue, now we have the youth dialogue. It's because there is a real need for peace in the country. And we don't know which way is it going to come.
Okay.
It's going to come through many different ways. There's also that accusation that people are trying to make money. And it is one thing that should be understood. There's nothing wrong with making money. As long as you are able to make money in a legitimate way, there's nothing wrong with making money. And in fact, we should encourage South Sudanese to be entrepreneurial so that they create things. The worst thing for them is to be dependent and stay at home, rely on their uncles or their fathers or their relatives.
Yes.
But we should be encouraging them to think about different things, because there's a lot of money that is being pumped into the country. And this money is usually being pumped through international organizations.
Yes.
So if young people are creating their own national organization and they want to create some value for their people, it's something that should be encouraged. But I want to be very specific. What we are doing here in South Sudan Young Leaders Forum is truly unique. I don't think there is any process that is going on, whether it's a process aimed at peace or an existing organization, that come close to present the kind of vision that we represent and the kind of inclusivity that we represent. As I mentioned to you before, this forum is made up of people that are even in the bush. There are people that are fighting against the government. There are people here who are defending the government. There are people who are in civil society. There are people that are producing knowledge. There are people that are working with different international organizations. And there is nothing that brings all of these people together. And because of that, different narratives are being developed. The narrative that are being developed in the bush and the narrative being developed here in Juba, narrative that are being developed in refugee camps are quite different. And we are trying to create a one common national narrative. So what the added value of this forum is that we bring all the youth, including, by the way, the youth that are sitting in the organized forces.
Okay.
Because sometimes, because we have a constitution that says that the military should not be active in politics. And we know very well the war that we are fighting is a political war.
Yes.
And these people, they feel they don't have a voice, and they are going to the front line and they are not being represented. But through the Young Leaders Forum, we are involving even the guys in the military so that they become part of the solution. So that all the youth in different form are coming together. You see, our older generation, our fathers, they had the Rumbek secondary school where they go and know each other. We, our generation, we didn't have such a thing. Those of us, people, me and wife and some of us, we grew up in the liberated areas as part of the Red Army. But there are others that grew up in Khartoum like Joyce and they went to Egypt. There are others that were wherever they were. And we don't know each other. We don't have that trust with one another.
Yes.
And because of the complexities of the liberation process, with so many defection, reunification, defection, and whatever, there is so many different narratives about what actually happened. But through this forum, we are trying to build one common narrative, and we unite our people. Just to add on the thing of the youth dialogue, what is different about this process is that it is entirely a citizen-led process. There's no process like it among all the processes that are happening.
Okay.
High-level revitalization forum is IGAD-led process, right? It's being led by a region. It's not being led by South Sudanese. South Sudanese are only coming as participants within the framework that is set by IGAD. SPLM unification is an SPLM-led process, led by the party, by the leaders of the SPLM, with the support of the regional leaders. They come together within the framework set by the party and set by the political leaders. National dialogue is a process that was formed by the president. The initiator of this process is the president of the Republic of South Sudan, His Excellency General Salva Kiir. He formed the committee. Everybody who is part of the process came as a result of the president appointing them. The youth dialogue is an initiative by young people of South Sudan. There's no godfather or a political godfather that is initiating it. There's no foreigner or a regional forum that is initiating it. It's young people that are saying,
Okay.
we are fighting ourselves and we are dying in large numbers. We grew up in a war that consumed our childhood. Now we are in our youth. Our children are going through the same thing. We are dying. We are losing our present and we are also mortgaging our future. So instead of us being dormant, waiting on these processes that are led by others, why don't we become part of solution and initiate our own process
Yes.
that we lead, that we determine? This is the idea behind it. We are coming as young people and we are creating our own processes that is truly indigenous, that is initiated by us, conceptualized by us. And the reason why you see us linking to others is because we don't want to be seen as if we are competing with others, because we see value in the High Level Revitalization Forum. We see value in the SPLM unification process. We see value in the national dialogue. But there are gaps. And there is mistrust in all of these processes. So we want to bridge all these gaps and offer a way in which our people can credibly walk toward peace.
That's very great. We will get to hear more about this. Viewers of SSBC, let's just go for a short break and pick up from there. Please do stay tuned with us.
The Round Table Show is a platform where we discuss topical issues that affect the nation. Our guests in hard questions and get their inside views on the matter.
There are some people who are complaining that there is corruption taking place in the state. What do you say about this?
These people, they are people who come to me and looking for the position. When they miss it, then automatically they turn themselves as the opposition and they are challenging me. They talk about the corruption. Corruption is not easy.
This is Round Table Show, the voice for the voiceless.
Welcome back, viewers of SSBC. You're still watching Round Table Show, and as I told you from the beginning that we are discussing about the role that this forum called Young Leaders Forum could do towards ensuring that South Sudan realize peace, and mostly the youth. What are they doing to unite youth in South Sudan? Because there are always people say it, so many forum comes up. But now this one, according to what they are saying, it's a unique one. So let's get to hear more about what they are telling us. Ronald Dryden, coming to you now, who is the chairperson of Dialogue or Youth Dialogue. Now, people always know that in South Sudan, there are so many things that do happen. People will sit down, will discuss, those youth will come from, as Dr. Biar was saying, that you people are even having linkage or connection with those who are in opposition. Let me say those who are not in South Sudan. Let's call them our brothers who have, joined the opposition. If you sit down with them and discuss and talk all your grievances and challenges, normally we have a challenge of making sure that things put right. Who will implement whatever you guys are going to talk about?
Yeah, thank you very much, Gore. That's a very good question. Because first of all, we the youth, we have said enough is enough.
Okay.
We are suffering enough, our families are suffering enough, and for the past 5 years, since this conflict started, the people who have lost the most, who are having the greatest burden are the youth.
Okay.
Youth have died in large numbers. Youth future has been spoiled. Education has stopped. It's a lot of negative things happening to the youth. So in the youth dialogue, we are going to bring everybody. All these opposing views, let's sit down and talk. It begins with dialogue. We talk, we convince ourselves. We don't want to divide ourselves anymore along political lines, along godfathers. We need to realize that the future of South Sudan is ours, and we're wasting it. And we don't want to be part of it.
Honorable, just tell me who is going to make sure that whatever you people discuss, youth, I may come up and say 1, 2, 3 has to be done. Now, we have the AML. Who will implement whatever you people are going to discuss?
First of all,
let me give this chance to Doctor. Can you tell us?
I think it was Molana that said that over 70% of the people in this country are youth. Okay? 70% of the population are youth. Now, if 70% of the people sit down and say X, Y, Z should be done, who do you think will oppose that being done? Of course, there are some things that we will send to the government to be implemented by the government.
Okay.
There are some things that we are going to implement directly as young people. Because if we say we are going to do this, because not everything has to be done by the government. There are some things that we are directly as young people going to do. We may say we need to do reconciliation, or we need to make an agreement on marriage, on dowries. Maybe we say this Kalambita 100 bagar there is too much.
Okay.
So we say it's going to be 40 bagar. We are going to initiate this and implement it through our communities. There are some things that are also going to be addressed by the international community. For example, there are things related to like funding the government or funding the social activities in this country, in which we are going to come to the international donors and say so and so this and this need to be done. So what Ronald Roy was saying is that we are going to come together and discuss all of these issues. And then we are going to divide them what need to be implemented. There are some things we are going to go to the leadership of this country, to the president and his deputies. We don't know, it may be reconstituted or whatever, because there are these power sharing talks going on in Addis. Whoever is in the government will come and say this is the view of young people of South Sudan that are saying this should be implemented. And we are very sure that it will be implemented, because every government in the world drives its mandate from the people. And if over 70% of your population is saying, do this, and if you are really a government of the people, you will do it. The same thing international donors that are saying that they are our partners.
Yes.
If they are our partners and we come to them and we say this is the view of the 70% of the population, it will be done. And there are things that we ourselves directly as young people are going to do. For example, if we say let's stop cattle raiding and let's create mechanism so that we can avoid this cattle raiding and child abduction, which is a problem in Jonglei, we are going to come up with our own mechanism in which we will do this. So when we do the dialogue, there is the first part, which is the discussion of the agendas, and then there is the second part of the implementation modalities, because not everything can be implemented by one entity. There are some things that the government will implement, there are some things that the international community will do, or our partners will do, there are some things that we directly will do, there are some things we will take to different entities in this country, and we will tell them this is what we have decided as people of this country.
Maulana Dengai, of people of South Sudan, especially youth, our youth currently are being driven by our politicians, if you know that. Politicians are the ones driving the youth. You people are saying that you are the Young Leaders Forum, you're going to work to unite the youth. The question is, these youth are being driven by politicians because they want something in their life. Every youth will always have a mind that he wants to have a bright future, having a posh car, having nice house, all this. A politician can give the youth and the youth can go away. So will that affect your work?
Well, Gore, Martin Luther King once said that our lives begin to end the time we keep silence about things that matters. In our country at the moment we have a lot of problems. We cannot neglect the fact that the SPLM cadres, our current leaders, fought for our liberation. They fought for us as young people.
Yes.
They brought for us our independence, and they formed the first autonomy government for 6 years. And these are the same people who have stolen our first money from donors. These are the leaders that you are talking about.
Yes.
And these are the SPLM cadres.
And these are the people the youth are following them.
It doesn't matter they are from which places,
Yes.
but they are all SPLM cadres. And now, they are the one confusing us. They are the one confusing the youth.
Yes.
They put themselves into different groups. The IG, the IO, the FDs, and all these groups. And they are the same people.
Yes.
So now, some of them are playing victims in situations or circumstances that they created themselves. Now they are blaming the government, others are blaming the opposition, they are blaming the FDs. So all these groups are blaming themselves that they are the same people of the same feathers. So I'm saying this because the youth must be serious among themselves,
Okay.
and make sure something is happening with these people that we are fighting for them. So now, for this process to be unique, in fact, someone like me, I'm the chairperson of SPLM IO Youth League. So when we had our first conference in Rwanda, some of us were invited, youth representing the government. We went to that conference. And others were even telling us that the South Sudan Young Leaders Forum are saying a lot of things that are happening in this country. So why should you participate as youth representing the government in a forum that is advocating for things that are actually talking against the government?
Yes.
We told them it doesn't matter whether they are talking against the government or talking against IO or talking against whoever. What we want in this country is peace.
Yes.
We need peace. It doesn't matter what the South Sudan Young Leaders Forum will come up with. So now, of course, the politicians are there. And now, South Sudanese are dying. The bottom line of all these IGAD-led peace initiatives that Dr. Biar talked about is to divide positions. Now we have the High-Level Revitalization Forum. The bottom line of High-Level Revitalization Forum is for the politicians to divide powers, to divide positions among themselves.
Right.
Then they come back to Juba. This is what they are planning for. They are planning for actually. So now as youth, we wanted to negotiate, talk, and dialogue among ourselves,
Okay.
and go deep into the issues that are facing our country, regardless of our political affiliations, because we come from different places. Finally, as I said it earlier, the membership of South Sudan Young Leaders Forum draws members from different places: civil society, the faith-based, political parties, and also the opposition groups. That's why we had our first conference in Rwanda, where we endorse our leadership. All the opposition groups, they came there.
Okay.
Even the youth from the government will went. The civil society youth also went there. So meaning it will actually be a unique forum that will actually be unique compared to all these other processes. They talked about the youth dialogue. The youth dialogue will be completely different. We will only have two stages: the regional consultations and the youth dialogue conference. So regional consultation, at the moment we constitute ourselves into 3 regions. We don't want to make it too much, because when you do something that is too much and not achievable, it doesn't make sense. So we said we'll have the 3 regions: the Greater Barghazal subcommittee,
Okay.
the Upper Nile subcommittee, and then the Equatorial subcommittee. These 3 subcommittees, they have, each group has 7 members. Then we have the steering committee, the 3 members of the steering committee. So they will go to the states, then youth will dialogue, then we'll come to Juba, probably in May, then we will dialogue. So now, don't worry about the manipulation of politicians. Some of us were independent minded. We can even survive without politicians. You get it? Our country is in problem. So if we only listen to politicians, then our country will not progress. So this is what I
All
want
right,
to say.
okay.
Yeah,
Let me hear from Joyce. Joyce, always they say women, when they talk to men, they can change. When a man having 1,000 words, just a single word from a woman can break all this down. Tell us how you're going to make sure that when you sit down, you come across a youth from, let me say, from opposition, somebody who said he doesn't like these ideas of the government, or he doesn't like these ideas of certain political parties, X and O. How would you ensure that you people bring all these differences together? Because for another reason is, if I may say, get this from Dr. Biar, the reason as why you people held this first meeting of yours in Kigali, because you wanted everyone to participate, even the opposition. Now, Joyce, tell us, how would you ensure that you play a very significant role in ensuring that some of these hard guys, because their hard is sometimes very hard, you break them a little bit down and say, my brother, let's understand each other, something of that kind.
Thank you, Gore. So what we are going to do is this. We as a young leaders, okay, we are sisters to them, and some are aunties, mothers. So we can still have that special space to talk to them, okay, and they will listen to us. And then in South Sudanese culture, the mans are always listening to women.
Okay.
Okay, so when we go to them and then talk to them, telling them that let's go back home and let's dialogue and let's have a peace back, because we cannot get peace outside the country.
Yes.
Okay, we cannot get it in Addis, we cannot get the peace in Kigali, in Kampala, everywhere. It's only here in Juba. Okay, and then another thing about the youth dialogue, we are going to hold the conference here in Juba.
Okay.
We are not holding it outside the country. Okay, and then for those opposition, they will be here in Juba and they will get security assurance. Okay, they will attend the conference and then they will go back safely.
Finally, as we're about to conclude, I just wanted to ask Dr. Peter Biar, this process alone, it needs not only your effort that you people have to struggle to ensure that it succeed, it depends on also how you people are going to be funded or in terms of resources. Now, just within few seconds, tell us how are you people ensuring that you wanted to make sure this thing goes on, and what are the channels that you people are going to be getting funding to ensure that this process goes on, or even what could be the way that you people are going to send an appeal outside so that you people are supported?
Yes. Just briefly, there are three or four different ways in which we are planning to raise the resources that we need. First, in our charter, every member of South Sudan Young Leaders Forum has to pay membership fees.
Okay.
This is there's a one-time fee of $100,
Okay.
and there's annual fee of $50.
Okay.
So each one of us is going to contribute this money. That is one, the first thing. Second thing is we are going to reach out to government.
Okay.
Because the peace we are trying to bring, we are bringing to South Sudan. And the government of South Sudan is the one responsible for South Sudan.
Yes.
So we are reaching out to the government. We have met with the first vice president. We have met with the speaker. We have met with those of national security. We have met with the advisor on security affairs.
Yes.
We are meeting with all sort of different stakeholders in this country. So government is going to, we're asking the government to provide us with resources. We know there's economic crisis, but peace is paramount.
Yes.
The government has to bring some resources. We are also going to reach out to private individuals and businesses.
Are you not missing out something? Because
we are coming to that. We are reaching out to those ones. We have been meeting with those football associations, with the companies and so forth to bring some money.
Okay.
And then we are going to reach out to international donors. Those who say that they are spending a lot of money in South Sudan and they are funding peace processes. Well, this peace process is not going to be brought from outside.
Yes.
It will have to be brought internally. So we are reaching out to that. But there's a critical point that I want to add, Gore, that we did not discuss.
Yes.
Youth dialogue is only one element of 4 pillars of our strategy.
Okay.
This youth dialogue is one of the elements of what we call realizing peace in South Sudan as a
Okay.
pillar.
Okay.
But other pillars include building national identity
Okay.
and enhancing a concept of nationhood among South Sudanese, because our social fabric has been destroyed.
Yes.
So we are going to do activities that are targeted to repair that sense of shared nationhood.
Yes.
We are going to have sporting activities. You know, also I wear my other hat. I'm
Yes.
the one that runs the wrestling
Yes.
organization here in South Sudan. We'll
Yes.
be organizing wrestling tournament. We met today with the football association. We are going to partner together.
Okay.
Organize number of football tournament within Juba and outside Juba.
Yes.
We are going to do cultural activities, comedy show, music, and all of these things are going to happen all over the country.
Okay.
The other third pillar is to develop this organization institutionally, and that means developing future leaders.
Okay.
So even as we are young, but even although we are young, we have to think who will come after us, and we have to start developing those people now. We are going to start an initiative called the Dr. John Garang de Mabio Fellowship in Ethics and Moral Leadership.
Okay.
It's going to target young people under 35, and it will take them through a 2-year program where they will learn basic tools in economics, governance, security, and strategic planning.
Okay.
So that we have another generation of leaders coming after us, because we always have to think, who will be there when we are not there?
Okay.
This concept of leaders thinking they should be there forever. Imagine now, we've been hearing about this Riek Machar since 1991. Are there no other people in this country? What is the process of developing them?
Yes.
So we want to take that initiative. The fourth element is communication. How do we communicate our objectives as people of South Sudan within our country and outside, so that we restore the image of our country? We used to enjoy a very good image, but now when you travel and you go to some airport, the first thing people ask you is, why are you fighting? And this has destroyed our image. So what we want to tell the youth is this: let us remember the command of Isaiah to unlift the heavy burdens and let the oppressed go free. Our people are oppressed by our own actions, by our own behaviors. And we have to change so that we are able to lift out those burdens and we free them, give them true freedom, freedom that our people aspire for. Not just only to have a state, but to be free from ignorance, disease, poverty, and from violence and fear. This is what we want to bring to this country. So the efforts of this South Sudan Young Leaders Forum are quite huge. We will send you our, I want to invite the members to visit our website, www.SSYLF.org. And they will get all the documents and all the vision that we are trying to do for this country called South Sudan.
We hope all this will succeed and you people will have peace. Basically, before I just conclude, there is one point that I wanted to say. All of you understand that there is this high-level revitalization forum is taking place, and all these processes are meant to ensure that there is peace. Honorable Ruan Raideng, finally you will be the last person we give you this chance to speak. We just wanted you to look on our camera and say a word. We have different people, different group, opposition, armed group. What would you tell them as a member of South Sudan Young Leaders Forum? What do you tell these people as they discuss in IGAD and seems things are not going the right way? What do you tell them?
Thank you very much, Gore. I would like to tell our brothers and sisters who are in IGAD, who are in South Sudan, who are everywhere, watching, as South Sudan is watching for peace to come from Addis Ababa, that we are tired, we really want peace, and we have high hopes that this time our leaders will be able to sacrifice their egos, their interests for the sake of South Sudan. We want to stop excuses. Like we, the young people, we have said we want to quit excuses. We don't want to stop blaming each other, blaming the government, blaming our leaders, blaming international community and UN. And all these excuses will not take us anywhere. But let's take responsibility. Let's take responsibility and want to assure that those leaders who are now in Addis Ababa, you are accountable to the people of South Sudan. If you fail to bring peace, we here will hold you accountable, our brothers and sisters in Addis.
All right, viewers of SSBC, you have just had it all, and especially our leaders and the opposition. Wherever you are, remember, you are going to be accountable to people of South Sudan. These are the words from South Sudan Young Leaders Forum. These are not the words of Gore Anthony, and these are the words of young leaders. These are the people who are saying enough is enough. We have just had a pleasure to sit down and talk to you as you're watching us. And please remember, these people here, they are coming to you, our brothers and sisters who are outside this country. Please, if they turn up to you, welcome them and have that heart that it is time now for us to come together, to unite, and then peace will finally come to South Sudan. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us. And once again, Dr. Peter Biar, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
My brother, Molana Dengai, it has been a pleasure having you. Our sister, thank you so much for joining us. Joyce and Honorable Rona Roy, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
God bless you all.
God bless you too.